So the standard thing to do is just to usually get out of mixed numbers. So let's start this first question here. 6 2/3 plus 1 4/5. So let's use that formula that says it's 6 number up front times the 3 in the bottom plus the 2 that was there over 3. And let's just have the other one on the side here. So 1 times 5 on the top plus the 4 that was there over 5. So the fractions that we're dealing with here, 6 times 3 is 18 plus 2 gives me a 20. We've got 20 over 3 plus 5 plus 4 is 9 over 5. So now we need to find the lowest common denominator between 3 and 5. So if I make a list here, this is pretty quick. It's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. 5 would be 5, 10, 15. As you get more practice with more and more fractions, and if similar denominators keep coming up, you might just be able to say, oh, 3 and 5, I know that's 15. And if that's the case, just go ahead and do that. So that means we need a times 5 and a times 3. So this gets times 3, and the 20 also gets times 5. So 20 times 5 leaves me with 100 over 15, plus 9 times 3 is 27 over 15. So adding these up, we get 127 over 15. So that is our improper fraction. But to match the way the question is, let's convert to a mixed number. So we need to figure out how many times does 15 go into 127. So if you did this 10 times, it would be 150. So 10 is too big. So if we did 9 times, that would be 135, which is still too big. If we did 8 times, that's going to give 120. So that's what we're looking for. So there's a remainder of 7 here, which means our answer is 8 and 7 over 15. So there's our mixed number answer. Now I'll show you on the other side here. So let's just draw a line, and I'll change colors. I'll show you how to add these while keeping the mixed numbers. So remember, 6 2/3 is the same thing as saying 6 plus 2 over 3. And 1 4 over 5 is the same as 1 plus 4 over 5. So we can actually move these around now that we have the 3 different plus signs. So we could write this as 6 plus 1 plus 2 over 3 plus 4 over 5. So we can collect all the whole numbers. So that's going to be a 7. And then we can add our fractions separately. So we still need the common denominator of 15. So the next step there is going to be, so this is over 15 plus this one over 15. So 3 times 5 is 15, 2 times 5 is 10, and then 5 times 3 is 15, 4 times 3 is 12. So we can add these separately this way. So now we get 7 plus 22 over 15, and this is bigger than 1. So that means we're going to have to take 1 out. So this is 7 plus 1 and 7 over 15. So now we just add those as 8 wholes and 7 over 15. And there's our same final answer there. Let's look at our second example here. So 9 3 over 4 minus 6 2 over 3. So let's convert out of the mixed number first. So that means 9 times the 4 in the bottom plus the 3 that was already there over 4 minus 6 times the 3 in the bottom plus the 2 that was already there over 3. So 9 times 4 is a 36 plus 3 more is 39 over 4 minus 6 times 3 is 18 plus 2 more is 20 over 3. So now we need a common denominator between 4 and 3. I'll just kind of do this out loud. 4, 8, 12, 3, 6, 9, 12. 4 and 3 is one of those ones that you'll get pretty used to doing because they're small numbers and they do come up fairly often. So the first fraction gets multiplied by 3 top and bottom, and the second fraction gets multiplied by 4, top and bottom. So 39 times 3, so 30 times 3 is 90. 3 times 9 is 27, so that gives us 117. Adding those together. 20 times 4 is 80. So subtracting 117 minus 80 leaves us with 37 over 12. So this is not a mixed number though, so let's convert this out. 12 is going to go into, let's just write that out. How many times does 12 go into 37? Twice is 24, 3 times is 36, so that's the one we want. So there's only a remainder of 1 here. So then our answer is 3 wholes and a remainder of 1 over 12. So that's the answer that would match the units we started with. So just like earlier, I'll change colors and do this question again while keeping the mixed numbers. Just keep in mind that when you do subtraction, this method gets a little bit trickier. Okay, so let's separate this out into 9 plus 3 over 4. So minus 6, and so that minus carries through everywhere. So it's actually a minus 6 and a minus 2 over 3 because it was minus that whole thing. So let's take 9 minus 6 gives us a 3, and so now we're dealing with plus 3 over 4 minus 2 over 3. So common denominator is still going to be 12, so let's carry down that 3, and 12 are our denominators. So to get to the 4 to a 12, it was a times 3, so that gives us a 9, is 3 times 3 in the top. And 3 times 4 gets us to 12, so 2 times 4 is an 8. So subtracting here, we get 3 and plus 1 over 12, which then we'll just rewrite back as 3 and 1 over 12. So you can see we get the same answer in both cases. Okay, our last example, another subtraction with mixed numbers. So I'll do it first by converting out of the mixed numbers. So again, that formula is 8 in front times the 2 in the bottom, plus the one that was already there over 2, minus 2 times the 4 that was in the bottom, plus the 3 that was already there over 4. So 8 times 2 is 16, plus 1 is 17 over 2, minus 2 times 4 is 8, plus 3 is 11 over 4. So the common denominator between 2 and 4 is pretty simple. It's just 4. So we don't need to change the second fraction at all. So we're just going to basically double this fraction here, times 2 top and bottom. So 17 times 2 is a 34. So 34 over 4 minus 11 over 4. And then the subtraction in the top is going to give us 34 minus 11 is 23 over 4. And let's match our mixed numbers here. So we want to figure out how many times does how many times does 4 go into 23? And it's going to go in 4 times is 16, 5 times is 20, and that's going to be it. So 5, 20 is our closest multiple, and there's a remainder of 3 there. So our final answer is 5 wholes with a remainder of 3 over 4 left over. So now let's see how that works out going the other way. So keeping the whole numbers, we're going to have 8 plus 1/2 minus 2 minus 3 over 4. Again, both of those last two get a minus because it was a minus 2 3/4. So our whole numbers, 8 minus 2 is 6, then plus 1/2 minus 3 over 4. Their common denominator here again is going to be 4, so 6 carries down, 2 over 4 minus 3 over 4. So this is where this method gets a little bit trickier now because you'll see we get a 2 minus a 3, so it's 6 minus 1 over 4 here. So now we need to do an extra step of adding fractions. Or what you can do is separate 1 off. So make this 6 a 5 plus 4 over 4. This is usually the trick that you can do. Either you borrow something, like you borrow 1 to make more, or you write it out more clearly this way. So we're taking 5 plus 4 over 4 is your 6, and now we're taking minus 1 over 4. So now we can subtract those because we have enough. So it's 5 plus 3 over 4 that's left. And the mixed number is 5 and 3 over 4. Okay, so that's adding and subtracting fractions when beginning with mixed numbers.